Today we're going to look at CONY and we're going to find out what my calculated average share price is. Hello my friends, this is Legend. Today we're going to take a look at YieldMax CONY, CONY. It's got right now it's got a distribution rate of 79.07% at the time of this recording. So what I'm going to do, of course, is we'll take a look at the Webull chart, see what it looks like on the graph, and then we're going to go over to my spreadsheet and we're going to see what my capital share price is, and then find out what my real average share price is when I add back into the price my distributions. So let's go ahead and slide over to the Webull chart and see what it looks like on the graph. Okay, so here we are on the Webull chart for CONY. So I've got the entire chart shown here. From the start, it was in, looks like came out around August at around about a $20 range, and currently it is sitting at $13.75. So it's had some ups, downs, and all arounds here. It's had several distributions, as you can see here. Some of them quite high and nice of $1.60, $2, and there's some lower, of course, in the 80 cents range and so forth. So let's go ahead and slide over to my chart and we can find out what my average is and then what my calculated average is. So here we are on my chart. We will go ahead and look at CONY for this one. So for the stock ticker here, I'm going to enter in CONY and it will calculate that current price as of the time of this video being $13.75. So for CONY, I've only bought it a few times here, so it'll be easy just to go ahead and type it in, and I'll explain as we go what my buy price is and the number of shares, and it will calculate the capital expense, and then we'll actually be able to enter in our distributions and then finally find out what that new calculated share price would be when I add in my distributions back into that cost. So as I said, I've got CONY here at $13.75. That's the price at the time of this video. So my first purchase here is going to be on 11/14/2024. I have a buy price of $15.11, and I am purchasing or purchased 53 shares. My next purchase was on 12/12/2024, and that was at a price of $15.81 for a total of 16 shares at that time. And my last purchase was on 1/8/2025. I made a purchase price. I got a good purchase price on this one at $12.45, and I purchased 16 shares for that one. So that is all of my entries that I have for CONY as of now. Now for my distributions here, my first distribution was on 12/13/2024, and that earned me $70.97. My next one being at January the 13th of 2025, and that one earned me $57.54. Okay, so that is all of my distributions and my entries for CONY. I don't have a whole lot in CONY currently, but we can still calculate and find out what my average is and how much I have invested. So we'll scroll right up to my handy dandy little table here and find out what we have. So for the number of shares, I have a total of 85 shares. My purchase share average is, now keep in mind, the current price is $13.75. So my purchased share average is $14.74. Currently, I have an average above the current price, okay? And that is on my total invested capital, which is basically the 85 times the 1374, which means I have a total amount invested of $1,252.99. Now, I have received some distributions, so I want to make sure that I'm capturing that and to help me out on my average price. So my total income from my distributions that I have earned is $128.51. That is going to come out of my capital, and that will be my total risk now that I have of $1,124.48. Okay, so that is going to give me a new calculated share price average, and that share price average is $13.23. So currently, I am under the current price on my calculated adjusted price per share average. So that's good. So what I would be looking for is if it can go below that 1324 or 1323. So if I can get it around 13 or 12 or something, maybe I'll look to purchase more shares at it of that time. So what is the percentage of my earnings? So I've earned 10.26% back on the amount that I had invested. So not too bad, not too bad. I haven't been in this one very long. About mid-November, it looks like, is my first time getting into CONY. I know a lot of you have been in CONY for a while, and you have received back your amount of capital. So congrats to you if that's the case for you. But for me, I haven't been in very long, but I am working to try to keep that average price per share under the current price. That way, if I was to sell out of CONY right now at $13.75 and sell all 85 shares, then I will receive the adjusted amount here, which would be that $1,124.48, and I've already received in my dividends or my distributions of $128.51, and those two added together would be my total capital that I have invested. So that would be getting my money back. Now, of course, that $11.24.48, that's selling at the $13.23, right? So if I was to sell it at $13.23, this is the amount I would get. I have received the $128, and then I would make my capital back. But if I was to sell it at the $13.75 of the current price, I'm actually going to end up getting an additional 50 cents per share on the 85 shares. So we can do a quick little calculation right here and find out what I would actually make and to see how much above that invested capital it would be. So I can do a little quick calculation right here. So I can say the $13.75 right here, if I'm selling at $13.75 times the number of shares that I have would be 85 shares, right? So that is a total of $1,168.75. Now, I did receive some distributions. So let's add that back in. So I take that total, that is the amount that if I sold it at $13.75, and I add back in the amount that I've earned off of this one, which was $128.51, I now have a total of $1,297.26. Now, I invested originally $1,252.99. So now let's subtract those two numbers and find out what I would actually come out on top if I sold them currently at this price. So I can take that $1,297.26 and I can subtract off the amount that I originally invested. So I'm going to come out at $44.27. So as you can see, I'm not going to make a whole lot, but this isn't really to show you that I'm going to make a lot. This is just to show you that by calculating this adjusted price average, I am still in the positive on this play, even though the price on my broker showing me at $14.74 over here, which is what any broker will show you. Normally they do not calculate in any dividends, any kind of premiums you earn, or any kind of distributions. It's going to be that $14.74 times the number of shares you have, and it's going to give you the capital that you have spent, right? So it's going to have this as your average price. But you look at that and you look at the current price, and it looks like you're a little underwater by almost $1 a share. So it looks like you're under about $85. So it's $14.74, and this is current price of $13.75. So it looks like you're about $1 under the current price. At 85 shares, that would be $85. So it looks like you're $85 under. But what you have to keep in mind is you have earned distributions. But how much distributions have you earned? You know, how many times have you earned, and everything else like that. That all matters. So the total amount of distributions you've earned, you have to make sure that you're able to see that and then add that back in, because that is going to show that you're actually not underwater. I actually am in the good. My calculated adjusted price per share is actually $13.23. The actual price of the stock is $13.75, which means I'm actually still in the good by $44.27. Whereas if I just looked at my broker and I looked and I saw 85 shares and I've got invested this, and it's going to kick out an average price per share of $14.74. Well, I'm looking at it just from that and I'm thinking I'm under $85. This sucks. But actually, I'm in the good by $44. So that definitely changes things when you look at it this way, right? This is just some of the things that I wanted to show you to make sure that you're keeping track of, so that you can see if you're actually under or not. Now, this doesn't mean that you're not under, right? You could be. It's just where I'm at currently on CONY, I am not under. I'm actually in the good. So I'm not losing yet, but we do have another payout coming. So when I get that, that's just going to increase this, which will increase my winnings. So does a lot of this, is it starting to make sense? This is a very neat way, and I think it's very easily laid out. And I think if you see it enough times, I think you'll start to understand exactly how you can set yours up, and to find out, how many shares you have, your calculated average, and all of that should be from your broker. All you got to do is make sure that you do a little quick calculation and make sure that you utilize your distributions that you've earned, and make sure you take that out of your total capital that you have invested to find out what your new average price is, because that makes a difference. And with that, you'll be able to hopefully later in a month or two or a few weeks, still hadn't decided when I'm going to look into this, of maybe getting into selling put options on some of these stocks, because that calculated average is going to help you do that. It helps you and tells you what is the lowest price that you could possibly sell that at, right? You don't want to necessarily go above that. If you're trying to sell a put, you want to be able to sell your put under your calculated average, because if you get put the shares, you want to be forced to buy them below your average to help average down. You don't want to necessarily average up. That's not a terrible thing if that is your plan. And if you're growing your account for CONY, that could be fine if that's your plan. But you don't necessarily want to do that just because you know, you sold a put and you don't know where your actually average price is at. So you want to make sure that you understand where you're actually at in your play. So I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It'd be much appreciated. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, legend out.